It was a quiet Saturday evening, and I was at a cabin near Asheville, unwinding with a few college friends. We hadn't seen each other in a while, and the laughter, stories, and drinks flowed easily. Taking time off was a rarity for me. Rachel and I had built our events company from scratch over a decade, carving out a name that became synonymous with luxury and trust in the city. From grand weddings to elite corporate functions, we were known for flawless execution. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Rachel's name appeared on the screen. Instinctively, I stepped outside to take the call, assuming it was something urgent. Her tone was strangely light. "I'm divorcing you," she said. I didn't respond at first. I just stared at the treetops, wondering if I'd misheard. "Oh, and I sold the company," she added, her laugh airy and triumphant. "To some investors in Miami. My new partner, Adam, and I are starting fresh, without you. It's for the best." Silence stretched between us. My heart didn't race. My breathing didn't change. Then I simply said, "Good for you." I could hear the surprise in her silence. She was likely expecting anger, desperation, some attempt to win her back, or at least a fight. But I gave her nothing but calm. "You always were so damn cold," she muttered. "That's why I'm done. Adam makes me feel alive." Then she hung up. I stood still, letting the cool air settle around me before slipping my phone back into my pocket and returning to the warmth and chatter of my friends. On the surface, I acted like nothing had changed. But everything had. Rachel believed she'd pulled off a clean break and left me blindsided. What she didn't know was that I had seen it coming. 8 months earlier, I had quietly begun preparing for this very moment. 2 days later, I drove up the driveway. Rachel was waiting by the garage, arms crossed, exuding confidence. She wore designer shades, a pressed blouse, and the kind of smirk someone wears when they think they've already won. She likely expected heartbreak or begging. Maybe some desperate appeal to undo what she'd done. What she wasn't expecting was what I pulled from the trunk. No bags, no overnight duffels. Just a clipboard, a folder, and a manila envelope. Her brow creased. "What's that?" I didn't respond. I simply unlocked the front door and motioned for her to come in. Curious and cautious, she followed. As soon as we stepped inside, I handed her the clipboard. "That's the deed to the house," I said calmly. "Transferred into my name only 8 months ago." She blinked. "That's not possible. You signed off on it," I cut in. "Back in January. I told you it was for tax purposes. You didn't read a word." Her mouth opened, then shut. She stared at the paperwork like it might bite her. Next, I handed her the envelope. "Those are records of the wire transfers from the business sale," I said. "The ones you authorized." "You saw them?" she asked, trying to keep her voice steady. "I arranged them." She stared at me in disbelief. "The Miami investors?" I continued. "They are friends of mine. From my network. You never once looked into who our silent partners were. You sold my shares, back to me." Her face began to crumble. I stepped a little closer. "You thought you outmaneuvered me," I said, voice low. "But you just handed everything over without realizing it." She shook her head slightly, like she could undo it all just by refusing to believe it. "I still own the business," I said. "You, on the other hand, have nothing." "You're lying," she said, forcing a laugh. I handed her one final folder. Inside was a copy of our prenuptial agreement, specifically the clause that nullified her rights to joint assets in the event of cheating or sabotage. I had slipped it into the same stack of documents she signed months ago. "I recorded your call," I said. "You confessed everything." Her smile disappeared completely. "You should probably call Adam," I added, turning toward the kitchen. "I imagine he'll have some thoughts." Her voice cracked. "You wouldn't." I paused, looked back at her with a faint smile. "Already did. He's even more upset than you." She stood motionless, gripping the papers like they were burning in her hands. I poured myself a glass of water and pulled out my phone. "You're bluffing," she said again, following me into the kitchen. I tapped the screen and put the call on speaker. It rang twice before Adam picked up. "Yeah," he answered. "Adam, just wanted to let you know," I said. "Your contract's been terminated." Company card access revoked. And your firm's being notified about the fund transfers. There was a pause. What the hell are you talking about? He said. I know you and Rachel were moving money under my name, I replied calmly. Rachel tried to interrupt. Adam, don't listen. Rachel. He cut her off. You told me you owned the company. That everything was under your control. You said you were going to Miami for business meetings. You used my name on those transactions. His voice was rising now. My firm is going to eat me alive, he snapped. You've ruined me. I could lose my license. Rachel looked stunned, like ice water had been poured down her back. You said you had contacts at the bank, she whispered. But it was too late. Everything she thought she had taken was already gone. The phone clicked as I hung up, leaving Rachel stunned. Her hand trembled as she let the phone slip from her grip like it had scalded her. Her voice came out barely a whisper, thick with disbelief. You don't understand. I gave up everything for this. I stepped closer, calm and cold. No, Rachel. You didn't give anything. You took until there was nothing left. She sank into the nearest chair, her body shaking, mascara streaking down her face. Please, she begged. We can fix this. There's nothing left to fix, I told her flatly. You're out of the house, the company, and very soon, out of options. I paused, then added, but there's still one thing left. She looked up, eyes wide with hope. A court summons, I said. I'm pressing charges for embezzlement, fraud, and breach of contract. The courtroom was filled when the trial began. Rachel entered wearing a lifeless gray suit. The aura of control and charm she once exuded was gone, buried under a mountain of legal evidence and scandal. Her eyes darted around nervously. No family showed up. No friends. Just a few reporters sitting silently in the back. I sat at the plaintiff's table, calm beside my attorney, the air around us thick with quiet confidence. The judge scanned the pile of evidence in front of him and murmured, "This is substantial. Embezzlement, forgery, illicit wire transfers, falsified contracts." The clerk turned to Rachel. "Miss Rachel Thompson, how do you plead?" Her lawyer answered, "Not guilty, Your Honor." But even he didn't sound convinced. He'd been distancing himself from her ever since that forensic audit dropped in his inbox. Then the emails came on screen. Correspondence between Rachel and her lover Adam, detailing how they'd move money around without me noticing. After that, audio clips played, pulled from the home security system I'd upgraded months earlier. At the time, I thought I was being paranoid. Turned out, I wasn't. In one recording, Rachel's voice cut through the silence. Just put it in his name. He'll sign anything. We drain the accounts, wire it out, and disappear. She went pale. Her lawyer leaned in to speak, but Rachel was transfixed by the screen. Then came the document that destroyed any remaining illusion. A legal breakdown of the business's ownership. My name. My stake. 0 shares under hers. The judge raised his brows. You tried to sell a company you never legally owned. The room went still. Rachel snapped. He was never supposed to fight back, she screamed. He always let things go. I thought he'd just. I didn't think he'd do this. The bailiff took a step forward. Miss Thompson, control yourself. But she was unraveling, her voice raw and shaking. This isn't fair. This isn't how it was supposed to go. The judge slammed the gavel. That's enough. Then he turned to me. Given the scale of financial damage and emotional harm, I'm authorizing punitive damages and a freeze on all of the defendant's assets until the investigation is complete. Rachel turned to look at me. Her eyes were red, her lip quivering. I didn't gloat. I didn't smile. I just stood and said, I trusted her. She turned that into leverage. She made love a transaction, so now I'm treating it like one. Time passed. 3 months later, everything had changed. Rachel was free on bail but stripped of everything. No money, no status, and no one left to lean on. Adam disappeared right after the news broke. His company severed ties, and even his family, known for turning a blind eye, had frozen him out completely. She tried to reach out once. Just a simple email in the middle of the night. Asterisk, I know I messed up. I'm sorry. I have no one left. Asterisk. I didn't answer. Not because I was angry, but because for the first time, I felt calm. The business, which had always been mine legally, bounced back quickly. When the public saw how I'd been blindsided, support rolled in. I rebranded, secured new deals, and hit seven-figure revenue within months. But the real victory wasn't financial. It was in the quiet. Walking into my new place, looking out over the city, hearing asterisk nothing asterisk, and feeling peace instead of anxiety. Freedom doesn't always shout. Sometimes, it's just breathing fully again after years of holding it in. Rachel's trial was still pending. Word was she was bouncing between couches, burning through the last of her favors. Adam had left her the moment she stopped being useful. That's the thing about opportunists. They vanish when your accounts go empty. One of her former friends reached out to me, cautious. She's telling people you set her up. I just said, let her. The truth is in the court records. And karma remembers everything. Months later, I opened my old email and found one last message. Asterisk, I was wrong. I thought I was chasing excitement. I didn't realize I was throwing away the only man who ever truly cared. You didn't deserve that. Asterisk. She was right. I didn't. But in life, some debts come due, with interest. And me? I moved on. Wealthier. Smarter. And finally, free.